All right, guys, what is up? Make a little video about the big man, Andre the Giant, the boss of professional wrestling. Back in the day, I got some facts about Andre that are pretty interesting. Here's a picture of him with Arnold and the late, great Wilt Chamberlain. Hard to imagine this picture. Arnold's like he's about 70 now, and these other two guys are dead. Wilt is a massive, massive man. Look at this, actually taller than Andre. Certainly nowhere near as heavy, but Wilt was also a very, very big, strong dude as well. Andre insisted on picking up the check one time when he was eating dinner with Wilt Chamberlain and Arnold. When the men said they wanted to pay, Wilt and Andre picked him up and carried him outside. That's a famous picture a lot of us have seen. If a friend drove a small car, he would sometimes pick it up and move it as a practical joke. He moved people's cars as a joke. Story going around about Andre. Several people have told it on YouTube, etc., about these dudes that were giving Andre a hard time in the bar. He came after them. They went to their car, locked the car door. He tipped the car over with them in it. That's how big and powerful this guy was. When he checked out the London Hyatt after filming The Princess Bride, he had a bar tab of $40,000, a $40,000 bar tab. Andre's drinking was legendary. We'll get into that a little bit later in the video. His Princess Bride co-stars were often hung over on set because they were out drinking with Andre. Andre loved to drink. He wore a shoe size 22 and had wrists as thick as a gorilla's. This guy had gorilla wrists, literally. He didn't often order big meals unless he wanted to show off, but could eat 12 steaks in a single sitting. 12! A world champion beer drinker, he holds the unofficial title for most beers consumed in a single sitting. 156! He drank 156 beers. There's a story going around about Andre where he drank 100 and didn't even have to take a leak. That's crazy. By age 12, he was 6 foot tall and weighed 200 pounds at 12 years old. He left home at 14. When he returned at 19, his parents didn't recognize him. He had grown so big. His fingers were so big that he had to use a pencil to dial a rotary phone, which, I can see that. There's another video going around where superstar Billy Graham talks about how he could fit 2 of his fingers inside one of Andre's rings. And also, let's skip the otter video. According to Hulk Hogan, he used a bathtub as a toilet on more than one occasion while drunk. Lots of guys on YouTube, on the internet, talking about how Andre couldn't use a normal toilet. He had to take a dump in the bathtub and run the water until it was dissipated. This dude took a dump in the bathtub. He was so big. He didn't like wrestling the Macho Man because he felt Savage used too much baby oil. Interesting fact. So if he didn't like you, he'd kind of rough you up in the ring. That's another little fact about Andre. His fingers, again, were so large that a silver dollar coin could pass through his rings. He is the reason the WWE Hall of Fame exists. It was created after his death to honor him. And I saw this video where Jake the Snake, I think it might have been on Joe Rogan's podcast, where he said Andre once farted on him for 30 seconds during a match. And in that same match, I believe, he stood on Jake's hair and pulled him up at the same time, pulling his hair out from the back. He once stole a pair of horse-drawn carriages with Dusty Rhodes after they got drunk in New York. And because of his size and years of wrestling, when he returned to the ring in 1986, he had to wear a back brace. Now, again, Andre's condition, the gigantism, caused a lot of problems with the joints, and over time, things just start to deteriorate. And certainly, Andre, look at this picture right here. He certainly looks older than his 46 years, and he was probably, this was 1986. He was actually about 40 in this pic. So yeah, this condition certainly aged him dramatically. Vince McMahon flew to England to ask him to wrestle Hogan, to get Hogan over in WrestleMania 3. And he didn't like to go shopping because, of course, obviously people would just stare at him. So he liked to spend money on QVC. When not wrestling, he enjoyed riding his ATV. That must have been a big ass ATV, and raising cattle at a ranch in North Carolina, interestingly enough. Vince McMahon had a van uh, custom made with a raised ceiling and a couch to make traveling easier for Andre. He spent most of his career in the WWF, but he actually finished his career in the WCW in 1992 before his death. He also was the inspiration for a video game, Final Flight. And, Andre, there's a lot of legendary stories going around about Andre and the things that he did as far as his strength and his drinking. His drinking was just incredible. He would drink 6 bottles of wine before he went out and wrestled Hogan in WrestleMania 3. He drank 6 bottles of wine, and you couldn't tell the difference. Nobody was the wiser. He actually was in the film Trading Mom in 1994. That was his last appearance. His dad was friends with playwright Samuel Beckett. Some of you might know who he is. Most of you probably don't. But he would drive Andre back and forth to school. And when he was cremated, his ashes weighed 17 pounds. It's a lot of ash. I mean, I've seen urns with ashes in them, and they're certainly nowhere near that kind of substantial poundage. It just goes to show you how big the guy really was. Now, Andre, unfortunately, had the gigantism, and it causes a lot of issues with people, and they certainly don't live very long. He died of heart failure in 1993 in his Paris hotel room. Ironically enough, he was there to attend his father's funeral, which is, pretty unfortunate. However, I think a lot of people that he talked to knew that Andre knew that he wasn't going to live to be an old man. And of course, his drinking stories are absolutely incredible. On an episode of WWE Legends of Wrestling, Mike Graham said Andre drank 156 16-ounce beers in one sitting. 127 beers in one sitting, the Fabulous Moolah said. He passed out in the lobby, and they just let him lay there because they couldn't move him. He was just there's also an urban legend about Andre where his surgery made it impossible for the anesthesiologist to decide and determine the dosage for his anesthesia. So they used his alcohol tolerance as a guideline. And then since that time, it's been widely used as a measuring tool in medicine. And he was arrested in Lynn County, interestingly enough, which is Lynn County, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, charged with assault after he roughed up a cameraman. Can you imagine that? Andre coming after you. Anyway, again, he died in his sleep in 1993. He did not live very long, but he left his estate to his daughter, Robin. And pretty cool. Andre the Giant, legendary wrestler. I could go on and on about Andre, but you get the picture. All right, guys, don't forget to get your gear, concealedcrew.com. Also, check out Golden Biohack if you are out in the Denver area. Improve your body, improve your mind like you would not believe.